Welcome back, friends. You are doing an amazing job. My name is Bianca Kemp, and I am your English instructor. I help students just like you confidently and comfortably speak in English. In today's lesson, we're going to take the vocabulary that we just learned and apply it to new questions and answers. If you're ready, I'll see you inside. Hello and welcome. You are doing so well. All right, time to review the new vocabulary from the last lesson. You know the drill, you know how we do, so listen first, please. Finish school, finish school, finish school. Get a job, get a job, get a job. Move, move. Move. Be born, be born, be born. Get married, get married, get married. Have a baby, have a baby, have a baby. Grow up, grow up, grow up. Now repeat after me. Move. Grow up. Have a baby. Finish school. Get married. Be born. Get a job. Well done. Okay, so you know that we use vocabulary that we learn in our grammar lessons. So we're going to look at the chart together and see how we can use the new vocabulary words and phrases that we've learned to express and share new information about ourselves and ask questions about others. So take a minute or two to look over the chart before we go over it together. Perfect. Okay, you know we have our questions on the left, answers on the right. We have 1, 2, 3 questions here. Our first two questions begin with the question word where. And we know when we see or hear the question word where, we think of place. Our third question begins with the question word when. And we know when we see or hear the question word when, we think of time. Okay? So that's the kind of information we are looking for. In our first question, where, let's look. We have two options, where were or where was. We think back to other lessons we've had and we remember were is the form of be for two or more or for you. Okay? And then was is the form of be for he, she, and any other third person singular. So let's check this out. Where were you born? Where were you born? Be born. Were is a form of be. Do you remember the baby we saw? Be born. So where were you born? Where were you born? I was born in Moscow. I wasn't born in Moscow. I was born in the United States. But here's our example. Where were you born? I was born in Moscow. Was, were, was. Was and were, we know, are forms of the verb be. So this is be born. I was born in Moscow, in Senegal, in France, in China, in Iran, in Chile, in Peru, in Italy, in Japan, in Thailand. Where were you born? We know where is for place. Here's our place, in Moscow. Okay. Where were you, two or more, born? We were born in Moscow. Where were they born? They were born in Moscow. I was, but we were and they were. Where was he born? He was born in Moscow. Where was she born? She was born in Moscow. So repeat after me, please. Where were you born? I was born in, and then you answer. Where was he born? He was born in Moscow. Awesome. Okay. Next question. It also begins with where. Where did you grow up? Where did you grow up? Where, we know we are asking about place. Okay, so where did you grow up? I grew up in Madrid. Where did you grow up? I grew up in Madrid. Where did he grow up? He grew up in Madrid. Where did Patrice grow up? Patrice grew up in Madrid. So let's look at this. Where did, we know did is the past of do. I do, I did. Okay? Where did you grow up? I grew up in Madrid. Grow is the present. Grew is the past. Okay? And for this question, where did you grow up? Grow up stays the same. And also the answer grew up is the same for all the persons. I grew up, we grew up, he grew up, she grew up, Patrice grew up, they grew up in Madrid. Okay. Last question. It begins with when. We know where is for place, when is for time. When did you move? When did you move? I moved in 2002, or I moved 5 years ago. Okay, so if you want to say the exact year, well, you just say in 2002, in 2010, in 2007, in 2020. Okay, 5 years ago means if this is now, 5 years in the past. That's 5 years ago. Okay? So when did you move? I moved in 2002, or I moved 5 years ago. And notice here, the verb is move. We made it past by adding a D. Normally it's ED. If the word ends in an E, then you just add a D. So this is the regular way to make a verb past. And a verb is an action word. Move, drink, eat, speak, ask, walk, think. Those are verbs. Okay, so we notice here that moved is a regular verb, but then we look at grew up, and we didn't add an ed to grow. We didn't say, I growed up. We change it to grew, because grew is an irregular verb. Move is a regular verb. Grow is an irregular verb. So that means that its form in the past is special. Okay, so when did she move? She moved in 2002. Or she moved 7 years ago. When did they move? They moved in 2012. Or they moved 10 years ago. Now notice here, and actually all 3 of these questions, the action, the verb, doesn't have any changes to it. It doesn't change according to the person here. So it's when did you move? When did she move? When did they move? No S, no D in the question. We only change it in the answer, okay? But even still, the change is the same for all of these persons. All right, so let's look at some examples. Where were you born? You can answer, I was born in Australia. I was born in Lebanon. I was born in Syria. I was born in Malaysia. I was born in Brazil. Okay, where were you born? Where did Samar grow up? Samar grew up in Beirut. Where did Samar grow up? Samar grew up in Beirut. When did they move? They moved 10 years ago. When did they move? They moved 10 years ago. Where were your cousins born? They were born in Kyoto. When did your mother move? My mother moved last year. When did your mother move? My mother moved last year. Where were you 2 or more born? We were born in Oslo. Where did she grow up? She grew up in Mexico City. Where did she grow up? She grew up in Mexico City. And notice with the question, where did she grow up? We have 2 verbs here. We have do, and then we have grow up, which is actually a phrasal verb. We only change the tense of the verb do, okay? But then we change the tense of the verb in the answer. So where did she grow up? Not where did she grew up. Where did she grow up? She grew up in Mexico City. It's your turn. So write answers to the questions, please. Okay. Let's read our questions before we look at our answers. The first question is, what is your first name? Then what is your last name? Where are you from? Where were you born? Where did you grow up? When did you move? Where do you live? What's your phone number? And what's your address? So we are bringing back questions from many, many lessons ago. So how would we answer those? My first name is Bianca. My last name is Kemp. I am from North Carolina. I was born in North Carolina. I grew up in North Carolina. I moved in 2002. I live in Atlanta, for example. My phone number is 123-456-7890, and my address is 123 Any Street, Anytown, Massachusetts, 12345. Amazing work.